somebody who knows a thing or two about war. Congressman Brian Mast joining us now. Good to talk with you, Congressman.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Yeah, doing pretty well. And, just first question thought for you. Is there any question about whether this conflict would be happening if Donald Trump were president of the United States?
I have framed it this way. I think there have been dominoes that have been pushed over since the beginning of this Biden presidency. The first one being him being inaugurated. The second one being his day one energy policies that basically made the United States and the world more reliant on a Russian energy, and Europe, even more specifically, moved to Afghanistan being another one of those dominoes that just showed incredible weakness and withdrawal of the United States of America. And the list goes on right up until the beginning of this war in the Ukraine. And I think they are all, this is a direct result of Biden dominoes being knocked over. And I'd give you one other point on this. You look historically and say, okay, in 2014, Obama administration, you had the fall of Crimea, the annexing, the war in Crimea by Putin. You move into the Trump presidency, and you have none of these actions undertaken by Putin. And then you move into the Biden presidency, and after 1 year of their saying, Austin and Milley, the military leaders, that the biggest issues going on for the military are the threat of extremism and wokeness and things like that in the military, that those are the biggest deals that you see going on. And you see Afghanistan happening, and you see this war in Ukraine waging. I think these are direct results of Biden.
Yeah, Congressman, you make a good point. Week one policy of Biden being, hey, we're going to go ahead and put restrictions on our own domestic production and supply of energy, along with opening up Russian energy sources to Europe and the continuation of the construction of the pipeline at that point. And then you take a look most recently, right down to the decision, United States, we have enough energy that we can produce not only to take care of ourselves, but to take care of Europe. And it was obvious that the reason we did not drop maximum financial sanctions even at the onset of this deal or beforehand was because Europe wasn't on board, in part because where are they going to get their energy, get their oil? And so they needed or wanted to be able to continue to buy it from Russia. What does it say when when Biden apparently is more willing to cave to the political left than to stand up for the sovereignty of Europe?
No, what you're saying is 100% true. Those that receive the most from Russia are most complicit in what is going on with this war in Ukraine. Make no mistake, it is nothing less than all-out war. Putin has a total commitment to taking over the entirety of that country. And so when you look at that situation of energy, I think back for myself to presidential debates throughout my whole lifetime. And every presidential debate in my lifetime, except for one, they were asking, what do you do about America's dependence upon foreign energy sources? And the only time they didn't ask that was in the last presidential debate, because under the Trump administration, we ended that dependence upon foreign fuel sources, and day one policy was to cancel the XL pipeline, the largest energy project in the United States of America. Cancel that project, right? And other energy policies that would result in zero exploration for future energy sources. And those actions directly lead to reliance upon Russia and then being able to basically hold Europe by the stones. And you look at that and you say Turkey has their own direct pipeline between Turkey and Russia to get their energy. And then there's the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And all of these entities that are unwilling to help enforce a no-fly zone over Ukraine. Why? Because they're receiving Russian energy. Unwilling to help out the Ukrainians in countless ways, or offer them NATO Plus membership, or the list can go on, because of their dependence upon Russian energy. That's all what it leads back to.
Brian, the Ukrainians have proven themselves to be fighters. It's been impressive, to say the least, given that they are certainly outgunned. It looks like right down to even Germany, who had passed a law not to supply weapons to other countries, that they are now doing that. You got 18 countries, I believe, that are on board with supplying weapon systems to the Ukrainian people. Just hope that it gets there in time. Do you think that there was a test going on here whereby countries were wanting to see if the Ukrainians were going to stand and fight to ensure that perhaps this equipment wouldn't fall into Putin's hands?
I don't think it had anything to do with assessing whether Ukrainians would stay and fight. I think it has everything to do with the fact that NATO, Europe, EU, and the globe are seeing the violence of action by Vladimir Putin, the all-out war that he is waging, and the nuclear saber rattling that he is conducting, the time and time again of him basically making the statement that, okay, if Sweden joins NATO, I'll consider that an act of war. If Ukraine joins NATO, I'll consider that an act of war. If any of you provide any kind of assistance to the Ukraine, I'll consider that an act of war. And that becomes the statement that he makes on everything. And because he is a nuclear power, Russia is a nuclear power, the world is standing down every single time that he makes that claim. I will consider that an act of war, or I will make sure there are repercussions like the world has never seen. And that is why you see the response. Ukraine has shown tremendous resolve. They should be lauded. They should be applauded and hugged and cheered for, and we should all be inspired by what they're doing. But I wouldn't make that mistake in saying this is the world recognizing what Vladimir Putin is all about, and Latvia could be next, and Lithuania could be after that, and Estonia could be after that, and Poland could be after that, and then Finland and Norway and Sweden and on through Europe.
Congressman Brian Mast, always appreciated, sir. Be well.
All the best.